What's up, everybody? Welcome back, episode 31.
31.
I got a fucking euro!
You got a euro.
This guy's got a euro. So last time you saw that we finished the mounts, we got the transmission mount done. We're gonna put the transmission mount in, and then we're gonna start working on the subframe.
Yay, this is gonna be a lot of fun.
Hell yeah, let's do it!
Yeah!
Alright, here is the transmission mount. It is done. We're gonna coat it. Yep, we're gonna paint it, we're gonna put it in, and then let's show them our little metal score we got here.
Oh yeah, we got some metal today.
We got metal!
Guess what was the most expensive out of all of this? It was this.
It was the plate. We got way too big of a plate.
It's huge, but at least we have extra metal now.
So we got 4 feet of 2x2, which is like borderline not enough, but we're gonna make it work. We got 4 feet of 1x2, which we're also gonna use for something else that we'll explain later.
This also looks like a lot closer to like 3 feet, but you know, whatever.
We'll measure it.
We'll measure it.
We'll measure it.
They fucked me. I'm gonna go back there and ask really nicely.
Fuck,
Actually, I'm not going back there.
Yeah.
There's no way.
Yep, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna get the steering rack off, we're gonna lop the steering rack off, and we're gonna cut this subframe in half. We're gonna stick it in there, bolt it up, and then start fabricating all the things we need to do to make this steering rack fit in front of this BEATZ. Yes. All right, let's get after it, guys. Sagey boys here, drinking a beer. That rhymed. Anyways, we put a light up. Look how lit up this is. Look how lit this is, fam. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna try to get the rack off of the subframe, but it's pretty much welded with rust on there. So we're gonna try to do it, and then we're gonna cut the subframe up.
And see what we can do to actually put it in the car and start fabbing our own shit.
So we can't put the transmission mount in there yet because the drill isn't charged. So we're just gonna do this until it's charged, and then we'll work on that later.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah!
yeah, yeah, yeah. Let's do it. All right, guys, we took the measurements off of the Orange Z, rest in peace. And we know exactly where the steering rack needs to be OEM, and we're gonna try to get as close there as possible. What we're gonna do right now is we're gonna start cutting the subframe, and then we're gonna bolt it in on each side, and then we're gonna start mocking up kind of the tube structure that we're gonna do to mount the steering rack itself. So let's do it.
It's gonna look stupid.
Yeah. All right, Casey has the subframe cut in half. It looks pretty gnarly. So what he's gonna do is he's gonna grind all of the excess pieces from the old mounts off, the old mount brackets off. We're going to plate weld. We're gonna put them in the car and start measuring. We're gonna plate weld it this way. We're gonna plate weld it on the bottom, and we're gonna cut this at an angle like this. And this is how we're gonna run our 2x2 off, and then that's gonna come off and then create our super forward new subframe.
It's gonna look weird, but like really cool, I think.
Yeah, so that's what he's gonna do. Back to the time lapse, guys. All right, Casey has it cut in half and all cleaned up, and we are gonna bolt both sides into the engine bay, and then we're gonna start measuring out how we're gonna run the subframe forward and bolt in the steering rack.
It's gonna go like shit. Just watch.
It's gonna be a hassle. You know how it is. Every time we do anything, it's like, oh, we finished this, but because we modified this, we have to modify this. Because we modified this, we have to modify that. And before we know it, the whole fucking car's modified, everything's cut and welded, and there's nothing we haven't cut in half.
And then Casey would just be a girl.
What? How's that even relevant to anything?
Because everything's gonna be modified at the end.
Oh, yeah.
Casey's gender is gonna
You're
change.
gonna pay for my gender reassignment.
All right, we got the subframe bolted in there. Look at this clearance. The oil filter would have not cleared, but we're running an oil filter relocation kit because it's gonna look cool, and also
We need to now.
we have to. So this is what you're gonna expect if you do a beam swap in a 280Z if you don't want to cut the firewall and or put this right up against the firewall.
Which then it'd make it like the motor sit like back here, and it would be ridiculous.
And you could do that, and you can do the shifter relocation kit, but as you can see right here, even if you set it back that far, it would still wouldn't clear. So you would still have to modify things. So at this point, we might as well, we looked at it, we're like, we're gonna have to modify it anyways, so we might as well get this shifter location that we really want.
Yeah,
And
I
then
mean, this is kind of perfect because this gives us room to route like fuel and brake lines and stuff back behind here, so we don't have to worry about that. So that's kind of cool.
yeah, this is just, we want it to be as OEM as possible and easy to work on as possible, because this is gonna be a daily driver. This car is not gonna be a show car. This is gonna be a car that he drives every day, all year, all the weather.
Because we don't build cars to sit in a fucking shop for 11 and a half months out of the year.
All right, so I got new bushings put on the steering rack down here, and Justin's been working on.
So I cut out the part of the subframe that bolts to the bottom of the steering rack, and I'm going to bolt. We're gonna weld this either like this to this tube steel or like this to this tube steel. What we're gonna do is we're gonna bolt it to the steering rack. We're gonna stick it in here. We're gonna get it to where we want it, like this, kind of.
Ideally, that's how it would sit, but we have to see if it's going to clear everything and everything's going to work like that. So
it would be like this, and then we'd weld things that come out to here, and then we'd gusset it and strengthen it and make it look super legit. So we're working on it, guys.
So we're gonna set a time lapse to kind of show what we're doing here.
Keep that shit. What's up? What's up?
Hi, Sage.
Oh yeah, check this out.
New
guys.
cutoff
Here,
wheels.
Initial DWEEBS is officially considered a business.
We're a business at O'Reilly's anyway.
Hell yeah, guys.
So that's kind of cool.
Moves, making moves.
Hi.
All right, so we decided we're going to cut the subframe back another inch to make way for the 1x2 tube steel. Casey is going to be...
I'm going to cut the lengths for all of our pieces that we're actually going to weld and fabricate in there, and Justin's going to be working on actually cutting those back.
So we're gonna double team this and try to get as much done as we possibly can. The steering rack placement is pretty dope. It's a lot higher than it is stock, and there's a chance that we will have to notch the frame right here a little bit to make way for how low it's going to be, but it gives us the perfect amount of clearance that we need, and it doesn't move the steering rack so far forward that it's gonna mess with our Ackerman too much. So we're actually coming out, we're gonna have to do a little bit more fabrication than we thought, but we're coming out better because the steering geometry is going to be closer to stock.
Yeah, and I mean, all I'll have to modify is like the shaft that goes up here to the actual steering column, so that's not a huge deal. I mean, it's fabrication, but you know, we like doing that shit.
Brad, straight from Caltech.
Fucking sick!
When I get my tax return, I'm gonna put some bags on my hard body. All right, so we have the rough layout of what the cross member is gonna kind of look like. It's tacked in there. The steering rack is tacked in there. It sits a little bit close. We're gonna have to trim this down to make sure it doesn't hit, but the position's pretty good. It's only a ½ inch forward from stock. We're gonna have to notch out the frame a little bit to compensate for the tie rod ends going up. But now we're gonna pull this all out. We're gonna brace and gusset all of this, weld it all together, paint it, and get it ready to go, and then put it back in there. All right, so we have this out. I'm gonna start welding it up. Casey is gonna start cutting the pieces that are gonna tie the corners together. and we're going to get it ready to put it back in.
Hell yeah.
Fucking fruit fly!
It's like done pretty much. There's one other thing we have to trim because after closer inspection and putting it in here, this little part of the tab still hits on the oil pan, but that's like the only thing that is a clearance issue here. So got to cut that off, and then we also forgot that we can't actually bolt it in yet because we have to do a bunch of boxing and stuff for the control arms through here. So,
For the steering rack.
for the steering rack, yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, we got some more modifications that need to be done, but all in all, it's in there. It's sturdy. We know we're gonna mount the rack, so next time you see us, we're going to be notching the frame for the tie rod ends, and we are going to be bolting up the transmission mount, and we are going to be creating some sort of subframe that goes from this mount to that mount that bolts in under the engine. So we have supreme rigidity.
Hell yeah.
All right, everybody, that is a wrap.
We got some stuff done.
We got the subframe done. We got the mounts done.
Mostly done.
We got other stuff we need to be doing, but next week you're going to see that. Like always,
Like and subscribe.
like and subscribe. Check out our merch store. Check out our Patreon.
Bye.
Stay tuned.